Good afternoon. My name is Alonzo. We are in week 9 of the public health leadership and project management class for the winter term. And so we're coming up quick to finishing up the term. And so this week is in regards to, let me roll back up here, our approaches to conflict. And so coming off of the questionnaire, before we address the questionnaire, I took the conflict styles assessment, and just quickly reading over the results before I go over the questions here, says that according to this assessment that I'm 82% a compromiser, as well as a problem solver at the same percentage. And then with the others, my next one that's ranked in here is 64% accommodator. And so these might be inputted in the questionnaire in the questions that have been brought up for this week. And so just wanted to put that out there first. And so the first question is, briefly describe the conflict scenario that I'll be using for this discussion. Include what is the core issue, roles of the people involved, but not names, of course, and the context in which the conflict arose. And so for this example, I'm going to use the example of two hypothetical programs that are looking to work together. So let's just say one nonprofit that is serving families ages 0 to 5 years old is looking to collaborate with a well-established nonprofit that are serving families from the ages of 6 to 21. And so both of these nonprofits look to support families with the best of their ability. One has supports and resources specifically tailored for early childhood development, as well as supporting families with basic needs, and also providing opportunities for connections to like home visiting programs, while the other nonprofit that supports school-age children from ages 6 to 21 and even older, they support families that are with specific school-age needs, families with children with developmental disabilities, and also helping them navigate through different health systems as they navigate through new diagnoses, such as autism, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, and other conditions, and helping families navigate through these different problems, and also help families walk through with a I like to say it from like a peer-to-peer approach, walking with families where they're at, and then being able to provide that support and service. And so the core issue between these two programs is that they do align with their mission in terms of serving families of all ages. However, due to different agendas between the two programs, that's where the conflict is arising, where there's a little more of an emphasis from leadership between that is overseeing two sides, that is putting a little more emphasis on early childhood compared to the well-established school-aged program that they are partnering with. And so I think, and so that's kind of the context in which the conflict arose, in this case for the two hypothetical programs. And so both are wanting to support and serve families of all ages, but however, there are philosophical differences from the two sides, where the director of both programs is favoring one nonprofit for the early childhood compared to the established nonprofits supporting school-aged children for families with children with developmental disabilities. And so number 2, based on this conflict assessment, what is your preferred conflict management style? Do you agree with this? Why or why not? How might this style be beneficial in the conflict you described? What could be the potential downsides? And would you consider using another style instead? Why or why not? So let me get back to the conflict styles assessment that I recently read out at the beginning of this. And so my main two are being a compromiser and a problem solver. I do agree with these because I am all about working together and hearing all sides, hearing all opinions, and hearing and seeing with a 360-degree lens the different positives, the different negatives, and also being able to try to solve what issues may be hindering from being able to either collaborate or work together or towards that solution that will be able to support families of all ages and all walks of life. And so I believe that this does show me in a nutshell how it would be when navigating a scenario. I think that as I mentioned for this conflict, hearing all sides and taking bits and pieces from each side and the pros and the cons of what is going on, and then being able to at least try my best to mediate and to be able to find methods to meet in the middle to where both sides or both nonprofits can be able to collaborate and provide warm handoffs as they may be able to share families as it relates to supporting different needs of let's just say this family working with the early childhood nonprofit ages out, and so they would have to transfer to the school age nonprofit. And so it would just be a matter of like finding an understanding of what works best and how to collaborate best, and finding ways to finding and improving ways on communication, and establishing what the scope is for each program, and then being able to establish a workflow between the two programs so that proper collaboration can take place, and then proper warm handoffs can happen between the two programs. And so the potential downsides is it really depends on really depends on the leaders of both sides, and also the director of both nonprofits to consider each side as it is, because I'll be honest, I know that there are agendas for each leader and what type of impact that they would like to make, and that's okay. But I believe that if they are on a path towards how do I say this properly? If they are steadfast in their mission to be able to make things happen, and that person is not willing to listen, then that will make negotiating and compromising and solving problems very difficult. And so, however, I know that in at least from my point of view, that I'm going to keep trying and keep listening until all avenues, even if all avenues have been exhausted, is just to continue to mediate, continue to listen, continue to reassess. As we look into program evaluation, it's the same thing with conflict resolution and working within the systems of each sector, whether that's a nonprofit or state or county level. And so honestly, I would not consider using another style, because personally, that's just not me. I can be a combination of direct and also expressive, where I love being able to express ideas, but I'm also but I also enjoy being direct with the direction that we want to go. As long as there is a direction that we want to go, or if I am making that decision on a direction that I want to go, then I'm going to be as transparent as possible with the resources and the support that I have around me. And so I would not consider using another style. I would rather look for compromising in the middle between both sides, and then doing our best to work out the kinks and problem solve the best way that we can with the support, resources, and data that's available. So the next question is, considering the iceberg of conflict described in Fraser's reading, what are the below the surface issues in this conflict? How do these hidden factors contribute to the escalation or resolution of the conflict? What power imbalances are at play? How might they influence the behavior and decisions of the people involved? And what strategies can be used to address underlying issues and power imbalances to ensure a fair and equitable resolution? That's a mouthful, but I can answer all of these. So for the two hypothetical programs, they are under one umbrella. The early childhood nonprofit wanted to partner with the established nonprofit so that they could work together to partner and to be able to provide support and services for all ages, for families with children of all ages, while also continuing on the well-established nonprofit that's supporting school-aged children for families with children with developmental disabilities, and so to be able to piggyback off of their main mission. And so the below surface issues in this conflict include I would say that the director that is overseeing both programs potentially being favored towards the early childhood portion of the early childhood nonprofit that is partnering and looking to try to further their goals and their mission, seemingly without communication with leadership that is on the well-established nonprofit that's supporting families, supporting school-aged children and their families. And so that, I think, is the main factor. And I also believe that there are philosophical differences between the director and also leadership, with leadership from the well-established nonprofit over here. And so how do these hidden factors contribute to the escalation or resolution of the conflict? The hidden factors kind of speak for itself, where when one party is looking to push forward with an agenda and the mission that they are looking to achieve, while not communicating with the nonprofit that's been well established and with more of a reputation than this nonprofit over here, then that leaves things at an impasse, and potentially having to bring in other factors to try to mediate, other employees to try to mediate, such as human resources, if things start to be escalated. And so we could talk about power imbalances. And so the director oversees both programs, and then the leader, the operations manager for the well-established nonprofit oversees this team. But when there's no communication that's being handed down by the director to support the needs for the well-established nonprofit and is favoring the early childhood nonprofit, then of course there's a main power balance. And whenever there's advocacy from the operations manager on this side, it seems like it's just, to put it bluntly, going on deaf ears, and that's not how collaboration works. And so what strategies can be used to address underlying issues and power imbalances to ensure a fair and equitable resolution? It's as simple as hearing each side out and seeing what the pros and the cons are, in moving forward with different programming, different ways to support families, different ways to support to support children's needs, and then moving forward with a consistent, concise, organized mission that will be able to deliver for both programs that are partnering together. I hope that makes sense. To ensure a fair and equitable resolution, and it's not as easy as it sounds, just because with the philosophical differences from both sides of leadership, and also from the main director, it can make things really difficult to find a fair and equitable resolution. But this is where you just, I believe as a leader, you just keep working at it, and you keep trialing different methods and different strategies to be able to forward the mission and the goals that are set out for both programs. And so finally, reflect on a conflict that you've had that was not resolved successfully. What factors contributed in the difficulties resolving the conflict, and what would you do differently next time to help come to a successful resolution? I'm going to say this is live. This current conflict that I have mentioned is currently ongoing, and while it is ongoing, it is not resolved yet, because it's hard, just because I feel like that there are good things from both sides of the leadership coin, and based off of their reasoning, and based off of what is viewed as the best way to support and serve populations, the populations that they're serving. But I also believe that a lack of communication and a lack of a clear mission and how to move forward is absent. And so without a plan in place that is able to be supported by both programs, you can't really get anywhere. And so in terms of doing things differently next time, this is currently ongoing. And so I think that as I mentioned earlier in the questions above, continuing to work through it, continuing to work at it, and continuing to hear both sides of the coin, from different perspectives, and gathering their takeaways, absorbing what their viewpoints are, and then moving forward with the best plan of action, based off of feedback. And so that concludes week 9. So thank you so much, and I am looking forward to your feedback as well. Thank you so much.